Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Monday, June 17th, 2024 Seaford Board of Education meeting. My name is Kimberly Hopkins, and I will be presiding over it. First order of business is calling this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Second item on our agenda is approval of the agenda with the deletion of 7.03, which you will find on page 5, is the memorandum of understanding for SBA and the Seaford Board of Ed. And they'll have more information about that to come, but we do have to approve it minus that. That is the only thing that we would be removing off the agenda tonight. So I'm going to motion to approve the agenda with the correction.
Sarah Savage, I move to approve the agenda with corrections. Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the pledge of allegiance for the final. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please take just a moment to have a moment of silence as we reflect on Elizabeth Wiley and her family that we recently lost. And she was a Seaford class of 99 DJ and a Seaford educator. And please be seated. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our last board meeting, May 13th of 2024. And I need a motion to approve.
Mark Strada, move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Jeopardy, second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion on the meeting minutes from May? Not hearing any, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. The next item on our agenda is public participation, and we do not have any blue slips. The next item on our agenda is reports and presentation, and we will hand it over to Dr. D.
Yes. Good evening. We have our last four for the school year for our Best at the Nest. And I will start with Donna Hardesty because she is here. So Donna Hardesty is the Buildings and Grounds Secretary for the district. And Ron Hurst, a coworker, nominated her and said Donna does an excellent job keeping the Buildings and Grounds Department running effectively and efficiently. She does her best to keep the district staffed and supplied with everything they need and keep everyone within their budget. So a round of applause.
Oh, look, come on up.
Good. Also, Doug and Donna with some moves here at the district office. And so just thank you for managing that change so well as well. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This month, we are also celebrating Miss Jasmine Wise, who is a kindergarten teacher at West Seaford Elementary School. She was nominated by Haley Schwamberger, a parent. Then we also have Jordan Gambrell, who's a paraeducator at Blaze Elementary School, nominated by two coworkers, Donna Wells and Nikki Chisnell. And he is a one-on-one para over. And finally, we have Candace Leana. She's the multilingual learners teacher at West Seaford Elementary School. And she was nominated by Danielle Rodell, who is the speech pathologist and co-worker over at West. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is superintendent communication, 6.02.
Yes. So today was our first day of the summer food trucks, of the meal trucks. 443 students, families were provided with breakfast and lunch today. From my understanding, 500 is kind of that threshold number. And to hit almost 450 on the very first day was really wonderful. It shows that there's a need and also shows that we're meeting that need. There were some questions earlier in the week. So tomorrow, with us being off on Wednesday for Juneteenth, students will get 2 breakfasts and 2 lunches. That covers Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the same thing on Thursday for Thursday and Friday. So thank you to Julie and her team for coordinating all that, and Doug or Gary for the information. In addition, we had almost a $9,000 award, a state grant through the Division of Mental Health and Substance Abuse for a mental health curriculum for grades 6 through 12. So Mr. Zoll will be managing that since he works with our counseling teams. And then finally, we have about 75 students who are signed up for credit recovery at the high school. A multitude of students who will receive their extended school year and 12-month services through Special Services Department. That will be at high school, middle school, and central this year. And then we received another grant to do pre-K and kindergarten literacy initiative this summer and then into next school year. And Dr. Jeanette will be managing that and coordinating efforts in that regard. So kids have only been gone for about a week and we are off running and getting all the things done during the summer. That's all I have.
Awesome. All right, thank you, Dr. Dewey. Next item on our agenda is the board communication. And I just want to say that many of us have been attending so many of the activities from the elementary to the high. And I think that everyone, all the schools and even the community has really put on a good, just a good events. From to the high school choral and band, like I have to say, those kids really rocked it out. The jazz band sounded amazing.
Good.
The bridge ceremony, I mean, Dara was there with me and that was very, like, everyone was excited. The kids were excited for each other. Like when they were trying to get everyone to calm down, we were like, it's not the audience. It was literally
Oh, it should be.
the kids.
It should be.
I mean, they really were like cheering on their peers and yeah, that was exciting. And then seeing all the people there for the summer kickoff for our reading, that was great. And then I saw on social media, thank you, that all of the elementary schools have the school-based, the wellness center now up and running, like how we saw at Fred, which is awesome. And I also appreciate putting up all the different locations for the food pantries that people can, go to also if they're not able to get to the food trucks during the time that they are running, or if they need to do both. So I do appreciate that. Fellow board members, do you have anything else?
Besides the food trucks, food is available at the high school in the mornings as well, in case they can't get to the food trucks. That's important too.
Is that in the cafeteria or in the truck?
In the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Just a couple weeks ago, we had our DSBA Board of Directors meeting. Not too much going on. We discussed, the DSBA is in just financial order. We did discuss the new behavioral task force. As we do, some of these task forces are coming out, we're ensuring that there is school board member representation on some of these, as they reorganize some other things, like we've lost seats. So we're not happy about that, but we're advocating, to continue to have a voice in the conversation. The task force, and that task force is one of the places where we do still have a seat. Saturday, July 20th, is new member boot camp, even though, we're not gonna have any new members. If you wanna go and get the special ed process refresher, that will be available. There's a working lunch and everything. So if that's something that you wanna do, let me know and we can get that organized. And I believe that's the annual meeting, our annual meeting for all school board members and superintendents, will be on August 10th, and it's gonna be at Surf and Turf Bar and Grill in Milford. And that'll go from noon to 3. So hopefully everybody be there.
Thank you.
August 10th, a Saturday,
Yes,
from what time? Sorry.
from noon to 3. This is the event that used to be at, John Manucci's Ranch.
Gotcha, yeah, I saw the email, yeah, I did get an email talking about surf and turf, I'm like, okay, no,
Mhm.
okay, thank you.
No more riding horses.
Oh, shucks. All right, next thing on our agenda, it will be Mr. Cameron for 6.04 GCD Professional Staff Vacation and Holidays Policy.
Thanks, Hawkins. So there's no change to the policy. But as we've talked about when we go through this, as we're looking to change regulations, if there's no change to the policy, we're gonna have it marked as review. So there's no change to the policy, but there is the regulation that's coming next. So you just want me to continue on? Okay. So we had to tighten some stuff on the the vacations and holidays as it pertains to some labor law and everything like that. So in our regulations of what days you're off for and what days you have to take vacation for. And so this is just getting in compliance with the state is where we are. And as you get into the next one with GDD, it's very similar. One's professional staff and then one's support staff. So it's basically the same changes in there for the everything to match up the way it needs to.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Cameron? No. All right. And for that, but all that was just for discussion, I see not, you don't have to do anything with it.
Correct, but since we're just reviewing, we don't take action, we're just gonna mark down and review, and we talk about it, and as we've gone through this policy review process. There are times it just says, when they enacted the policy, when it was revised. And so no one's looked at this policy for 30-some years, so when we're all long gone, everybody will see all that was reviewed then, so they know that it kind of matches up, and that's what kind of been our process through this whole review.
And that review date would just go right underneath of the.
Rather than revised, it'll say reviewed, so DC the last time the board reviewed it with no action.
So this is for 6.04, 05, 06, and 07?
Yes, well, remember, the regulations don't need voted on, we bring that to you as as an informational item that we work through in the policy committee. But since the policy, as we've talked about on the policy committee, Dr. Savage and Ms. Wright, that it makes sense for us to also review the policy so it all matches up as we go forward.
And just for my clarification, I know that we've been, and y'all guys, not we, I mean, I didn't even bring it because I know y'all been working hard on it. But where this policy sits in the policy manual, it has not changed. It stays where it already had been.
Correct. All those changes, if anything changed with letters or anything like that, we did that on that old swoop back a few months ago. It stays where it is. It's just underneath it'll say reviewed 6/17/24.
All right, good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next item on our agenda is school choice. Mr. Gold, do you have anything you need to say, or are we good to move forward? All right. I see. All right, so next item that we need to vote on is school choice, and I would need a motion.
Jeffries, I make a recommendation to deny school choice application 2025-40 as presented, to approve school choice applications 2025-41 through 2025-43 as presented, and to rescind school choice applications 2020-2021 through 61, 2023-2024 through 40, and 2023-2024 through 41 for the 2024-25 school year specific.
There are seconds, last second.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Since there was no questions, I need to roll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item on our agenda is 7.02, facility requests, and we do not have any. The next item after that would be, well, technically, I guess it would be 7.03. But we have 7.04 EBC emergency policy, Mr. Zoll.
Yes, so this is a new state policy, have to have in our system, just based on some events. So the state has asked us to have a policy that covers anytime, staff, or a student would pass away, or any other kind of emergencies. We already have an emergency policy that I then just kind of updated with the things that the state, had asked for in there. I tried to keep it as generic as possible, because the plan and the emergency procedures guide, we already have that in detail, that's teachers, staff, all of us already have access to. So the policy just kind of updates it and then calls attention to those documents.
So probably have any questions for Mr. Gold?
And then along with that, you see, there were three policies that sound very similar. So we're just going to delete EBCA and EBCC, because they almost identical with what EBC was.
Okay, thank you. Next one, is 7.05. Let's see. Yeah, this is,
That's, but there's stuff, let's do two. One's the first reading, one's the second reading.
okay,
Yeah, this is the EBC, is the first reading.
all right. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, so we need a motion to approve the first reading.
Dear Savage, I move to approve the first reading of EBC emergency policy as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Is there no further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Sorry. No, you're fine. It was just picking up what we discussed and vote on it. Then the next item is 7.05, EBCB safety drill policy, Mr. Gold.
Yep, and this is the second reading, remember, from the first month, we just kind of updated the language. Because before, we only really talk about fire drills, and we do a lot more than that, in our schools, just keep our kids safe. We try to update it and make sure that it's all in there.
If there are no further discussion or questions for Mr. Zoll, I just need a motion to approve.
Mark Sheldon, to approve the second reading of EBCD, fire drill, pump safety drill policy as presented.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, so next up we have Mr. Henry, and he's going to discuss 7.06 for the Douglas Elementary School Facility Assessment.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to thank Mr. Ken Kern for coming, joining me tonight and the assessment from Kern by the annual architects. So they're the guys that put this together for us. So this is kind of like what we did in the beginning of the year with our own assessment, our internal assessment. This is the architectural and the mechanical assessment. So you guys saw the size of the document that was sent to you. It's pretty huge, pretty big. A lot of information in it, and takes a little time to put together. So, like again, I want to thank those guys for helping us out with that. I do want to note that our middle school, through the assessments, we saw that our middle school is basically would cost $70.8 million if we did all the renovations that are called for. And basically to build a new middle school right now, it's 72.1 million. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Once you start looking at it like that. So, and the good thing is, when I was going through the enrollment numbers, I just wanted to note that the enrollment right now for the middle school is at 932 and capacity is at 954. That middle school. So we're pushing capacity there. So we're getting close. That, remember, with the state right now, that's basically our way in. It's to meet capacity, overcrowd, and then we can move to the next step. So we're getting close on that building. That's the building we need to be close on right now.
What did you say that renovation number was?
So basically it was, what was that here? So the reno was 70.8 million
And the new building?
and the new building was 72.1. So. Any questions on any of them? I'm not-
We still have to meet their growth projection.
Correct. Yes.
And that building is how old for the record?
It's 100 years old. Any other questions on any of the other documents or the schools? We're gonna go ahead and move forward with submitting this to the state.
Just for clarification, are we talking about the age of Fred or the age of the middle school?
Middle school.
Middle school. We haven't gotten Fred yet. It's coming.
Yeah. The Fred Douglas is 101, I guess. So we're pushing 100, let's put it that way.
On 2 buildings.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when we started going through this, it actually does say in code that the lifespan of a school is 100 years old.
And all that's gonna be sent to the state, of course, when.
Correct. All the information that Ken and those guys put together and Dave Hoffman from Geico put together what's under.
Because even if you think about it, with the newest school in our district is what, the high school?
And that's the new addition of it. Yeah.
And the folks, when you think about it, when that school was built, those folks are in their seventies.
Yes.
They're in their seventies now.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the newest, not talking about the addition, just talking about new from the ground up schools.
Yes.
The newest one has people in their seventies that were students first there.
Well, they approved for, a quarter of the roof to be repaired last time.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No, you just got us going, that's all.
I got you reared up. Like,
Yeah.
so good.
With the benefit to us being older like this, when we submit or any kind of grants or any kind of submissions, it benefits us based on the age of the school. Instead, it can't kick back to us and say, we want you to wait another 4 years or 5 years. Pretty much, we got them, hold them to their.
It's, they base it on enrollment.
Yeah.
The problem is right now they're addressing enrollment.
Yeah.
Enrollment, really, right, Ken? I mean, there's not really.
Yes, it's still that we still have seen the benefit of time to apply for it with other districts. Just because, you have projects that are piling up and it seems like the more if you're only going out something every so often,
Mhm.
if you're going every year, they see this is more of
Right.
a need.
Need,
See
yeah.
that. I think the
Okay.
capital school district got some funds for renovation projects. But
Good
the
deal.
renovations are much more expensive.
Yes.
Building.
Yeah, especially for old. Yeah.
And the thing with new is that a challenge is it's just based off of a formula that they say this is based on your enrollment, this is the money you get. So that gets all that's different too.
Every time from the legislator within the year,
Yeah.
because it's ridiculous.
It's asinine, it's what it is.
So just so I'm clear, because Seacon Middle School is 7.10,
Yes.
so we're gonna go ahead and vote for the Seacon Middle School.
Well, yes, we can vote for each building separately.
Yeah, we're gonna do each one separate, but the first one on our list is Vernon. At 7.06, and then the middle school doesn't come to 7.10.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll vote on the middle school, and then we'll go back to Fred. Okay, because we want to.
Went out of order. Okay.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
problem.
just make sure that we're all on the same page. So colleagues, the first one we're gonna vote on is 7.10, Seaford Middle School, facility assessment. And I'll need the motion.
Mark Schreider moved to approve the Secret Middle School facility assessment 2024, that's presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion for SMS, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. And then the next one, we'll go back to Fred, Douglas.
Fred, like I said, I sent you guys the documents. I can review them if you need me to, but, you got it up there. I got it. So again, we did a lot of work on the mechanical side of, Fred Douglas. We did some boilers and stuff like that through Esser. But you still have, when you're doing some envelope work this year, some repainting and stuff like that to the building, but we still have an old building that we're dealing with, older pipes, older fire alarm, older, just the windows, unit ventilators, the things that we weren't able to address through Esser. So.
Did you do a comparison with each school, like how much the renovation would cost versus?
So yes, it's broke down on the The executive summary,
Okay, thank you.
so yeah, it's broken down per building
Got
as to how much it is gonna cost for the next fiscal year,
Mhm.
for the renovation for the next fiscal year.
Okay.
That's not a total of all of them, but that's just for the fiscal year.
Got it. Thank you.
That's all broken down on that sheet. So basically Fred came in at, just for this coming year, estimated filter cost was 29,969,997. But just keep this note too on that executive summary at the bottom, the total for all of our buildings, all 6 of our buildings was 203,740,661. And we get 500 and roughly about 80,000 in minor cap. So that shows you the difference.
203 million,
Correct, yes,
580,000 is what we received from the state of Delaware.
about 580,000 patches. It went up just a little this year for like,
Went up, over $101,000.
That's it.
If the tax changes or if no tax changes and we adjust the way we utilize our tax rate, we should be able to utilize a little more, but still not enough.
So they don't consider at all neighboring districts whose demographics are similar to ours, who have built brand spanking new buildings.
right,
They don't consider that at all.
I don't believe so, do you? Right now, it's just overcrowded.
District Two's oldest buildings were built in 2012. And we have 2 100-year-old buildings. And we won't talk about equity
That part,
across districts.
that part.
Yeah.
We're not fussing at you. We're
No,
it's being recorded.
I totally agree. I'm right with, I'm with you all the way. Yeah, it's, when you look at the numbers, it's crazy. The cost of what we're gonna spend to try to renovate our older buildings compared to what other districts are getting in new buildings.
And when we are denied and things like that, when we turn in the certificates of need and they decline it, who is the who that declines them?
So most of the time it comes from DOE. DOE will go through it and then they'll respond back to Dr. D in an email saying that we don't have any, there's no funding available to fund those projects that you guys turned in on the CN. Please do so again next year. Resubmit. I mean, unless they give us something for this, and that could happen too. We got, like you said, we got the partial roof project
Yeah.
up there. So.
Okay, thank you.
So for Fred Douglas Elementary School, we need a motion to approve the facility assessment.
Darren Savage, I move to approve Fred Douglas school facility assessment as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. The next school on the list is 7.07, and that is Central Elementary School facility assessment.
So, central again for fiscal year 25 estimated cost that was filtered was, 29,000, sorry, wrong one, 25,951,138. Would be what we would need to do to keep up with what's being projected as being all of the buildings.
For those, can you explain what a filter cost means?
Can you help me out with that?
For which,
Filter cost.
The filter cost.
the filter cost, so we basically prioritize when we did the assessment of priority 1, 2, 3, and 4 on what we saw as conditions. So these numbers are just looking at priority 1 and 2, and figure those are the things that we need to replace as soon as.
Things that need to be done in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
Or immediately to the next couple of years.
yeah, and some of them you have some priority, you have some time on. But it's still, you want in the pipeline, or these are things that need to be addressed. The priority 1 or more items are more poor condition.
Yeah.
And because people watching, and it may not come across in the reporting, if it's going out in the press, what are some priority 1 items? Is it boilers? Is it?
So going back to before Esther, right, the CNs we turned in before that is the reason we went after the HVAC, bigger mechanical equipment. That's exactly what was on there. It was the chillers, it was the boilers that we replaced. It was, so we went right by this assessment, the older assessment. And that's how we came up with what we addressed and basically working with Ken and those guys as we addressed with ESSER. And, same thing as the repointing, we did a roof renovation, you know, that type of stuff. So we went right by the assessment by priority one items. But this shows right here that we still weren't able to, you know, grab every one of them. There's still some out there.
And so, I mean, you know, bringing that up, so basically, essentially, like, you know, had we not gotten ESSER funds, had there not been a global pandemic, we'd be in much tighter streets right now.
Big trouble, Marcus.
And we're not okay as it is, but we'd be so much worse had we not gotten this emergency money.
To be honest, our kids could have been sitting in schools that didn't have AC or.
That's what needs to be put out there. That's why I asked you exactly what I asked you, because kids would be sitting with no heat, no air conditioning, leaking pipes.
Right.
If we hadn't,
If it hadn't been
Gotten
for
that
ESSER,
money.
we could have definitely been in
so
there.
if it hadn't been for COVID.
Right. Absolutely.
Thank you.
But we don't need buildings.
Nope.
Well, yeah. All right, so I need a motion to approve, the school facility assessment.
I make a motion, we approve 7.07.
Derek Savage, second.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item, 7.08, and that is Blaze Elementary School Facility Assessment.
So Blades Elementary is one of our newer buildings, but not truly a new building. It was the older kindergarten center that was renovated and added on to. So it's there again, people call it our new building, but it's not really our new building. And now that's the one we did the roof reno on. We actually put a coating up there, a silicone coating, to prolong the life of the roof.
How old is Blaze? Cause I was
So,
there for
so the Blaze reno is actually 20, yeah, 20, what is it, 24, 2000.
For the expansion and built in 1954.
Right.
54.
Any other questions on that?
Candy bar, record school, first to sixth.
Yeah, it was like an 8-room, I think it was an 8-room class for, you know, school. when I started.
First to sixth grade, we were there. Yeah. Then we moved to savings, we had moved to Pembroke Bridge. Didn't have room in school no more.
But this is 7.08.
Oh, Mr. Ray, I think we're sure across the bridge.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, boy. Should have been
Motion to approve.
Definitely, I make a motion to approve Blaze Elementary School Facility Assessment 2024-25 as presented.
Marcus, right, a second.
I have a motion, we have a second, if there's no further discussion, please, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. Next, we're gonna go to West at 7.09. And their school facility assessment.
The one other thing I wanted to mention too is I do have a document I can share with the board, that basically I shared with Dr. too long ago, that tells the age of every building.
Please.
And all of the renovations, when each renovation took place, or when the boilers were renovated, or the windows were changed out, or anything like that. So we got like an Excel sheet with all that stuff listed on it. I'll be happy to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
It's a nice added glance. when
Yes.
somebody asks questions, that you have the information. out there.
Yes.
So I'll send that to Dr. D and then she can send it out to you.
Thank you.
Any questions on, which one were we on? West? So any questions on West? Basically, West came out at 36,157,771. One thing I do want to note on all of our elementary schools is the ADA issue, and I think Kim would second that one. It's a huge issue. But the way the buildings are built, we can't really do anything to address it. Like if you think about those little bathrooms in between the kindergarten classrooms, they're literally
Yeah.
3 foot wide. You know what I mean? So there's no way we can, by the building envelope, we can add on or do anything like that to change any of that. So
Yeah.
kind of tight.
I remember, you guys were saying something about that when you put in the new water fill stations.
Yes.
How, talk about the ADA and where they sit, how chairs can't get under them and whatnot.
Like how much they protrude into the hallway.
Yeah. And every one of our buildings have that issue with the water fountain protruding into the hallway, so we're not meeting any standards there, but we, you know, the only thing we could do at that point was update the
Right.
company itself because of the possibilities and COVID and the other facility.
And so we need a motion to approve, West Seaford's, school facility assessment.
Derek Savage, I move to approve West Seaford's facilities assessment as presented.
Marcus Rhoda, second.
I have a motion, we have a second, there's no further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. We will now go to Seaford High School at 7.11. And their facility assessment.
So the Seaford High School is probably one of the better ones right now, set at 14,949,843. But if you look past the next few fiscal years, Ken and I are actually working on a project right now with a full window replacement. I think I mentioned that to you guys, but the cat cones are actually sagging up front. And that right there, that project is well over $1 million.
Yeah.
When we go out and do that, so. I mean, you think about patches is gonna hand us some money from minor cap, but I would have to wait for another year to add to it to be able to probably even start that project. That's where we're at with that. Any other questions?
And we do need, a motion to approve the Seaford High School facility assessment.
Deputy, I make a motion to approve the Seaford High School facility assessment 2024-25 as presented.
Marcus Rhoda, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, and we move on to the needs, certificate of necessity for the schools. I just have a question for this, voting goes, since they're all a certificate of necessities, can they be bundled?
No.
But we can run through.
All right.
Because we've already heard everything, we've already heard all the discussion. This is just the application to the state for them to say that.
All right, so the first one we're gonna do is a 7.12 certificate of necessity for Frederick Douglass Elementary School.
Derek Savage, I move to approve the certificate of necessity for Fred Douglass as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. There's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next item is 7.13 certificate of necessity, that's for Central Elementary School. Now we need a motion to approve.
Marcus Rhoda, move to approve the certificate of necessity for some elementary school as presented.
Deputy, I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no question or further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And the motion carries. Next item would be the 7.14, the certificate of necessity. I'm sorry. For Bethesda Elementary School, and I don't even listen to approve.
Make a motion to approve 7.14 civic of necessary page elementary.
Derek Savage, I second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no questions from Mr. Henry or further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. The next item is 7.15, the certificate of necessity for Bethesda Elementary School.
Deputy, I make a motion to approve the certificate of necessity for West Seaford Elementary School as presented.
Marcus Rhoda, second.
I have a motion and I have a second. If there are any discussion or questions for Mr. Henry, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Next one is 7.16, certificate of necessity for Seaford Middle School, and I would need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve 7.60 or 16 civic of necessity for middle school.
Derek Savage, I second.
We have a motion and we have a second. If there's no questions from Mr. Henry or further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Next item is 7.17, certificate of necessity for Seaford High School.
Deputy, I make a motion to approve the certificate for Seaford High School as presented.
Marcus Rhoda, second.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion or questions from Mr. Henry, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries.
Mr. Henry, if we are not pleased with their response to the certificate of need, do we have any course of action as a Board of Education?
That would be,
Appeal
I
process?
don't believe we do, but
Okay, Cam.
I don't think so. I think we just have to take what they give us back and move on.
No appeal, no nothing. Good to know. Thank you.
Interesting.
Very.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you. Thank you for all the work that you guys have put into this. All right, next item, presented by Mr. Hill will be the opportunity waiver 7.18.
Opportunity waiver is been advertised for, I think, the past month, 2 months, past 2 weeks. Here in Seaford, as you see, it's, something we have to do annually, would have been this last year. But it's way over the 98% total allocation it receives generated by the Civic School, as part of the Department of Education's opportunity fund process. So. Any questions?
Nope.
No, I see them on other speakers reports too. If there's no questions, from Mr. Hill, the opportunity fund, I just need a waiver, I need a waiver. No.
Mark's right, we'll approve the opportunity fund, the rest of it.
Sarah Savage, I'll second.
We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. I'm getting it before, right? Next item, also presented by Mr. Hill, 7.9, fiscal year 2025 tax rate.
This is the tax rate memo, which we will send, or our tax warrant for the year, for 2025. You'll see that our tax rate that we're asking for this year is the same as last year. And do you have the breakdown? Should be another slide.
We do.
We have it.
We have it.
So one of the things we're asking to do here is with maintaining it, is moving some things around within that allocation. The importance there is stuff like Mr. Henry mentioned when he talked about ADA compliance. There's potential match taxes that we've not utilized in the past, which if we go down to the very bottom of this, I wanted to show you, you'll see how each one is being changed, but this is a summary of changes. So we're maintaining the same amount, but it's, by doing that, we're utilizing more potential MCI come in by 4 cents, which is 22,000 change per penny for Seaford. So you're looking, and that's on the local side, and you have the state side. We're looking to do the same thing with the ARP barrier removal, although you can't always guarantee that you get it. It is something that's offered, it's a limited pot by the Department of Education. Some districts have gotten it repeatedly. So what we're going to do is ask for that when it becomes available. It's also a match tax, but it's one of those things where if you don't have the money set aside to do the match, you can't. So once we assess that and get it, it's good for future years, whether or not we use it for this year or in the future. So it's just one of those things to try to, again, maintain our aging infrastructure. Any questions?
No, but thank you for all the research that you've done on this, to, you know, look at the best ways that we can allocate the money that we can bring in. All right, so if there's no questions for Mr. Hill related to the tax rate, I just need a motion.
Make a motion that we accept 7.19 2025 tax rate.
Jefferson, I second.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the preliminary budget for fiscal year 2025, and that is 7.20, and that is presented by Mr. Hill.
Yes. All right. This one here, I want to grab the right printout for you. We'll go down to the bottom. What I did this year was present what we did year over year. You'll see that our anticipated revenue is going up. What I need to highlight for you is that this is only the local revenue side of this. We had mentioned an all funds budget in the future, moving towards that, which would account for almost $60 million worth of funds. But this is the local discretionary piece, and we are anticipating revenue going slightly up. One of the things that I really do want to highlight for you here, which is an important piece, is the fact that, let me see here, for revenue, it's roughly 62K higher. Most of this is local. I did want to call out net choice and charter outflow. In the past, each year, this has been shown on the expense side. What we want to do going forward is actually show this, like most other districts, on the loss and revenue side. Choice and charter is not really an expense for us. Expenses are those things that go for the children that go to our schools. What we're showing is a loss of revenue which is actually students that are kids still, they're still our residents, but it's a loss of revenue because they're going somewhere else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what we had to do here to make this happen is also go back and recompute what that would have been for this year. So we've estimated the two to show you a change in the two so that this looks, because you'll notice this number looks a little different, but that's mainly because of this number not being in. I had to basically modify your budget that you had approved to show you the comparison. That make sense? Let's switch over to,
You wanna go ahead and approve or?
well, I've got one more part of that budget, which is the expense side. You'll see here a very similar approach. I took the school chart, the choice charter out. What you also see in several places where there's zeros. What we did was we started to consolidate down items that were in appropriations or program areas where we wanted to kind of make this a lot easier. So copy center, let me see here, contingency, those types of items, insurance. Instead of them being their own line item, what we're doing is we're putting those under the business office. So the business office is the basically the cost center for that. What we also did then is we modified other things like HR. I think we consolidated some of our branding and those sorts of things there. We also did the same thing for student services. One of the things y'all asked about actually, I think last month, and I think it was last month in my absence, that you asked about how we would potentially fund the metal detections or metal detectors / weapons detection system. So what we've done, we started a line item for Mr. Zoll's department, which is school safety underneath student services. Again, separate line item underneath it. So what we're trying to do there is start to utilize one of those call center alignment type of methodology so that the director that oversees that can help drive that and be reported out on that and that sort of thing. So what we've done there is we went out and we found as part of our COPS grant that it was already written into the COPS grant to do the weapons detection. So what we've done is we've switched our way of thinking is that initially we were going to do additional items for the principals had requested additional cameras in their facilities. So what we're able to do is utilize some minor cap monies from this year to actually finish that project, while then taking the COPS grant money to utilize for the weapons detection. Makes sense?
Yep.
Kind of switching that around for you. So, any questions so far on that? Most all areas held constant in other areas, and that's mainly due to ESSER going away. We don't want to increase a lot of budgets until we see where we're going to truly land. With the final budget in the January timeframe, we should be able to do that. I think across both, you will see an overall increase in revenue, and hopefully you will notice that a lower expense. So we're hoping to be able to come in even a little better than we did this year. So, which this year it's looking really good. Any questions?
No.
That's it for your budget for FY 25.
I know, very, very impressive. And it totally makes sense how, how you guys have moved stuff around to work.
Thank you. It's been a lot of work.
Big, it does make more sense that way. All right,
And I just want to add too, that we've had a lot of conversations about the weapons detection system and pros and cons about how to pay for it, what kind of money. Is this something that we go out to our public for? But we feel a really strong commitment to that purchase and know that you as a board support that as well. And so we figured out a way to make that work within the district to be able to reassure the public that we are financially and fiscally sound and prudent, and to have the reserves to make those larger purchases when we need to for the important reasons. So thank you for your help with that. Those are lots of conversations.
I just have one question that relates to that, being that they are mechanical, like is the budget, do you have money there for if they need calibration, or how are they, for the maintenance? on them?
So one of the things we've done, when we go to this month's, board report, you'll see set asides and there's stuff. One of the line items that is set aside is, I think, was school safety, correct? I think and so what we'll be able to do in the future is hopefully, that's not necessarily for that additional cost, what it is to help maintain things over time. And we've been doing that with the technology, we can do it with some of our buildings and ground stuff, is to kind of, so the set asides are just so that when we don't have those other funding lines like minor cap come in, we can actually utilize that to basically continue to maintain it. It's our own kind of, I wouldn't even call it savings. It's really more to maintain the things that we're already doing more than anything. So that's basically where that would be utilized.
Market cap started going heavy.
Right. Mr. Hill, I do have a question. Since ESSER is pretty much drying up for everybody, is there a plan or is there a projection to focus more on grant writings? I know you don't build budget on one-time money, but is there a plan, a strategic plan to continue, like Mr. Zoll got that wonderful huge grant? Is there a plan for the district to continue to search out and apply for those grants?
I think that is, I can't speak for the past, but I feel like that's something that's always been part of the plan and always been done. And I think we'll continue to do that to make sure we're seeking out other opportunities. I know from technology to the safety to any of these, one of the things that this team has been really pushing and working on is to make sure that we had, you really always want to use outside money first. I mean,
That's right.
it doesn't matter if it's private or if it's federal or state, you really want to use that first before we, just kind of start to look at the local taxpayers' dollars. So that's one of the things we really have tried to do is, and whenever possible, do that. Any other questions?
Most of this equipment we buy has warranties and stuff, what is it we get when we purchase the equipment? A lot of equipment we get have warranties already with them, though, but we purchase that, or do we, it's a choice sometimes, but do we always normally purchase the warranty for it?
We typically always buy some form of warranty that's within reason and feasible.
Yes.
Some items, I would say some items we self-insure because after a certain period of time,
Right.
it doesn't make fiscal sense to do it. But lots of items we buy come with some sort of warranty that we can.
And it's included in the contract,
That's what I'm saying.
for the procurement contract, and stuff like that, it's included in the.
Okay.
So now we need a motion to approve, fiscal year 2025 preliminary budget.
Definitely, I make a motion to approve the 2025 fiscal preliminary budget as presented.
Marcus, try a second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item presented by Mr. Hill be 7.21 fiscal year 2025 salary schedules.
Each one of these has a portion of it that has been updated, which is why we brought it forward to you. From cafe manager to worker, constables, custodian, fairs, pretty much the entire list. What I wanted to do is really summarize it for you, which is the state match is being moved in many categories to match the governor's recommended budget. As y'all are well aware, many of these categories of employees have had a specific push from the governor's budget and the budget bill to actually modify things. Many of these we are items we need to move forward on those now, and because even if they change, we would come back to you with that. But what we've learned in the past that most of the times they don't. And so we need to kind of get your preliminary approval to go ahead and move forward with it because we have a lot of work to do in July to get ready for the new school year. And so we've asked for that. We have consolidated positions in here based off of that budget. Some of them are like custodial and secretary's schedules to match positions that are either going away or many have called it a rebranding. So think of it, a fireman position no longer exists, which in many districts, which was considered a number 2 position. So they They done away with the fireman, which would have been the guy that basically stands at the back of the pole and, that's, again, it's modifying code. The other one is they've done away with all the different layers of secretarial positions. And then now it's admin assistant 1, 2, and 3. So, by doing that, there's been some changes. We decided to do a similar thing. So with technology, we actually, we had 3 different categories, and what we realized is 3, based off of the pay that we are at, will no longer be in need for 3 categories, just only for 2. So we modified that. And what I would call out is that anything with the collective bargaining agreement got what was previously agreed upon. And others that did not have an agreement also saw a slight increase with the exception of your administration.
That was my question. So,
Administration is held constant right now, and they will get just the general staff that most get. There is a board policy for doing that will be looked into as we go forward, but at this time, that is remain constant. So, with all the things, so.
all stakeholder groups, collective bargaining groups are
Seem to be.
Yes, and one thing, keep in mind, we're probably going to bring you something either in July or August around bus drivers and bus aides.
Yeah.
Because if you recall, the last couple of years, like we intentionally only did an MOU for a year because they keep changing what's going on there. And we've got some preliminary stuff on that, but we have to work on the state side local to make all that work. So there's probably an MOU coming. As early as July, as late as August, once we figure that all out.
okay. Thank you.
Mr. Hill, I'm guessing board pay stays the same too, right?
I'm done with your salary.
Much appreciated.
I bring one question, just a suggestion. The way that the combined teacher salary, the way it looks on print, would you guys be willing to also put the steps and years experience on the second page so that they're not trying to figure it out?
Actually, you know what? It is in the spreadsheet, and I didn't catch the fact that when it was, before we post it, we will, because
So it's all on one.
it should be all on one page. It's just the way it printed out
Okay.
and most of the way. This is actually, it looks like 2 pages, but in the spreadsheet, it goes on and on and on.
Okay.
And so when it printed out, it actually cut it in 2. So yes, what we normally do in that situation is we put it on the other end.
Okay.
And so that's, so I have to apologize that I missed that. And one of the things you'll see here, which is just to call out, is the supplement that was a one-time supplement has been removed from this. And the way the governor's budget worked is the state actually includes that now. So it's, yeah, so it's no longer, well, what if it's part of the main.
Okay.
State.
All right, and I would need a motion to approve, fiscal year 2025 salaries for the minutes.
Mark Sherman, to approve the fiscal year 2025 salary schedule just presented.
Eric said, yes, second.
I would have a motion, we have a second. If there's any further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item presented by Mr. Bill, your financial report.
So moving away with next year, we need to finish up this year. What you'll see is the May report, we're at 91.67% of the year completed with only June left to close out. So, as of right now, operating unit expenditures did go up to 1.3 million from about 700K, but the reason that is also we had a prepay month. So if y'all remember, we had a prepay month. So we actually, overall expenditures went down, but our total because of pay went up. So any questions on that?
No.
Tax collection. Tax collection will be, we are at, still over 100%. We did receive, which you'll see in future reports, or if it doesn't come in time, it might be, but we did get the senior property tax and disabled veterans tax credit money. It is actually, the process has been done at the state level and we just have to get it into the district, but that is another $100 and some $1,000. I think it was 162 total, which combined with this 313 is quite a bit. But Any questions on the, tax collection?
No.
Set asides, which was what I had mentioned earlier when we talked about, you'll see here, we have multiple areas from playgrounds to futures to furniture to the, you specifically asked about school safety and or security, which is there. So that's that line item. So we are maintaining this right now. After we do year-end closeout, we may come back even with suggestions based off of how things end up from the, from last year's, those basically would be in FY 25, what 24's closeout looks like. We may suggest moving some money around from our local operating, expenditures into some of these that we'll see once we do closeout and see where we really end up. So, and then last but not least is the revenue. This really does highlight the difference in the all funds revenue versus, if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that our totals end up being the roughly 660 million. Now, I wanted to call that out again because as we've been reporting this, we haven't necessarily projected those other areas of state and federal, basically state and federal revenue that comes in. We've actually used that more as an operating thing where as they come in, we increase the budget. The importance of doing it, how we hope to do it in the future is then you'll be able to see more of the burn down percentages. Because it really does look, it's starting like a lot more money is coming in and we're getting all this extra money and really we're not. So what we're going to do is again, in the future budgets, after we get more into this year and get past the opening of the school year, we hope to go to that all funds approach where we can actually show you kind of here's what we estimate and here's where we're burning down throughout the year as opposed to the opposite. But overall, we are looking really good and based off that, what was approved, we are at roughly 3 million over. But again, a lot of that is money we would have got as a match, or it's even part of that includes the state salary piece and those sorts of things. So, any questions there?
No.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. I'm going to need a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
There are Savage, I move to approve the monthly financial reports as presented.
Definitely not second.
We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further questions from Mr. Hill, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Next item, long range agenda. Well, it is summertime. So we have Juneteenth, the district will be closed on the 19th. And for Independence Day, the district will also be closed on the 4th of July. And then on 7/8, we will have our reorganizational meeting for the board, and that will be at 6 p.m. The next item on our agenda is to go into executive session for personnel matters, legal updates, and student matters, and I'll need a motion to approve that.
Much further, we'll do executive session.
Definitely not second.
I have a motion with a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. All right, thank you, everyone. We will head into executive session for the privately. And then we will come back into the public session afterwards.